Hello everyone, BCT Webster here. Sorry about the late video, but I have been a bit busy lately. But let's begin. Today I will be talking about Demon Slayer chapter 187. So if you haven't read it yet, I strongly urge you to do so because there will be spoilers in this video. So if you just read it or just don't care about the spoilers, let's begin. So this chapter continues from where it left off last chapter, with Tanjiro reliving the memories of his ancestors and Yoriichi telling him the story of him fighting Muzan. So we follow Yoriichi as he starts to fight Muzan. Muzan, of course, is cocky and arrogant as ever. He even goes as far to say, I am no longer interested in fighting swordsmen who use breathing. And he begins to attack him, and his attacks are just brutal like we see in the current fight going on, with his limbs flying all over and teeth and claws coming out of everywhere. And Yoriichi admits that for the first time ever he feels fear. His spine went cold. And this just goes to show how incredibly strong Muzan is. You know, we've always thought he was strong, but if Yoriichi, the one who uses the sun breathing, even he's afraid of it. He wasn't afraid of his brother, who was the number one moon. So yeah, so they start fighting, and Yoriichi even uses his little vision where he sees the body's transparent, and he saws that Musan has 7 hearts and 5 brains. It's kind of gross, but I think it might hold a bit of importance later on. Oh, sorry about that. Somebody slammed the door in my house. Um, yeah, so they start fighting, and in that moment of everything being intense, Yoriichi finally completes his sword forms. So I'm guessing he finally gets to the 13th form, which is the hidden secret one. And Muzan was not expecting any of that, because even his head gets severed in. He's holding it together, but it's not regenerating. His body's not regenerating at all. He's barely holding on. And one thing that I want to point out about this, because Yoriichi makes this comment that never mind. I'll get to that later. But one thing that's interesting is he uses the sword technique, the um sun breathing, and Tanjiro uses the fire gods fire gods dance form. And it's I just think it's interesting that when Tanjiro uses the fire god dance, it has an effect on demons. Like, they can't regenerate as quickly. And then when Nezuko uses her blood demon art, that also causes the same thing. Like, their direct regenerative power seems to decrease. At least from what I remember, like, it really damages them. And I wonder if there's some kind of connection here. And seeing that connection, I also feel like there has to be some significance that it's Tanjiro and Nezuko in the middle of this. You know, the fact that it seems that, Tanjiro is the bearer of the fire fire god dance, and then Nezuko is a demon who is not only just free from Musan's control, she doesn't feast on human flesh. She has a demon blood art that is designed specifically to harm demons, and that she's the first demon ever could walk in the sun. They both come from the same family, and it can't be a coincidence, especially seeing that this family has some connection to Yoriichi, who was the sun breathing Hashira. And then their family has the dance of the fire god, and they keep passing it down from generation to generation. Everything seems to line up too nicely for it to just be a coincidence. I feel that there's some kind of connection, whether it be that Yoriichi taught them the sun breathing in the form of the fire god dance or something. But even then, after all of that is said and done, just the fact that it's Nezuko and Tanjiro has to have some meaning. Anyways, back to the story. So again, Musan seems to be down for the count. And as Yoriichi realizes that he could kill Musan without any problem, before that, he feels like he has to ask him something. So he goes up to him and he asks him, what value does life hold for you? And what value does life have for Musan? And Musan doesn't answer. He just stares at him. He seems angry and red with rage. And as that's going on, Yoriichi then notices a demon girl that's with Musan. And the thing that was interesting to him was that she wasn't attempting to help Musan in any way. She was just looking at him intensely. And in her eyes, you could see that there was some kind of hope, some glimmer of hope in her eyes. So Yoriichi, decides to ignore that for now and just, kill Musan. So he starts making his way towards Musan, and as he's doing that, Musan just starts like kind of spasming. His teeth start grinding, and then his body explodes into thousands of pieces, and in all different directions, starts spreading down and going away. And it was about, I believe it was about 1,800 pieces that flew out. And Yoriichi's trying to take care of all of them, making sure so not a single one gets away. But he only manages to get rid of about 1,500, which leaves around 300 of the smallest pieces, which, according to Yoriichi, hits barely enough for a clump the size of a human head. But I'm guessing that clump was more than enough for Musan to regenerate his whole body. Maybe that's why he has so many hearts and brains, in case his body gets destroyed, he still has something to pull from and regenerate. Because clearly decapitation will not work on Musan. So, anyways, the demon girl then collapses and starts to cry. And we find out that she wanted Musan to die. And we get the reveal that that's not just any demon. That's Tamayo. And she reveals that Musan will probably never show himself to Yoriichi ever again. And Yoriichi asks her for help and she agrees. After that, the rest of the Hashiras then come to him with the news that his brother was turned into a demon. Whether they know if it was willingly or not, who knows, but he was. And with those three failures, failing to defeat Musan, letting Tamayo escape, and his brother turning into a demon, she got banished from the corpse, and the Hashiras are actually demanding that he commit suicide. Or I think it was a mistranslation. I think they wanted him to commit seppuku, which is similar, but there's some very clear differences. But the master didn't allow it. Now, I don't know if he just didn't allow the seppuku, or if he didn't allow him to be banished as well. I can't remember. I might need to reread some other chapters, see how he ended up, but yeah. Okay, so from here, there is quite a bit that I want to unpack. So, first of all, and this is just aesthetics, and it could easily be explained by a similar power that Nezuko has, but Tamayo looks a lot younger than she did when she met Tanjiro. But again, that could just be the same thing as Nezuko, like she could make herself look older or younger as she pleases. But what to me was very interesting is that she seemed to be a personal attendant to Musan. So she might have held some kind of rank, or there was something about her that Musan kept her close. And I'm wondering what specifically made her turn against him. I want to know if it was what she was witnessing or the atrocities that Musan was committing, and it just didn't sit well with her. Or I'm wondering if Musan did something to her. If he forced her or mistreated her in any way, or if it was just what she saw. Or maybe it was a combination of both. But I really want to know, what is it that drove her? Because we don't really ever get a clear answer. We just know that she hates Musan. I want to know why. And again, this reveal also, it's pretty big, because now we know that Tamayo wasn't just some random demon that hated Musan and broke free. Because that's the kind of idea that we kind of get when she's first introduced. Like, oh, like I was a demon and I managed to break free. No. She was close to Musan in one way or another. And not only that, but she was there when he was closest to death. When he came so close to dying. Like, she saw that and she wanted him to die, and that was ripped away. So that could be an inspiring moment for her. Because if you notice, almost every single other demon that we encounter, when it comes to Musan, they see him as this invincible, unstoppable force. But the Mayo, she's seen him vulnerable. She's seen him when he's so close to death. So I'm thinking that that right there helps inspires her in her efforts to take down Musan, because to her she knows he is not invincible. Is he can be weak. He can be killed, and he was almost killed. You know, think that's very important. And one thing that I'm wondering is, okay, so Tamayo, so Yoriichi asks Tamayo to help him, and she agrees. And we kind of see that agreement getting fulfilled by her research that she does to find a cure for demons and all the other stuff that she's doing. But what I'm wondering is, when Yoriichi was brought to the master about his failures and when he had to answer to him, did he tell him about Tamayo? Like, they know that he let Tamayo go, but did he say that why he did it? That she was gonna help him take down Musan or anything? Like, did they know? Because the thing that I'm wondering, like, if they knew, the Hashiras knew, they would have tried to hunt her down. They wouldn't have been okay with it. Because if history shows anything, is that, you know, they're not always okay with demons regardless of what they may do. So I'm wondering, did the master know? Or was he just aware of it? Because one thing that we see when that we see is that this last master, not the kid, but the one that brought in Tanjiro and everybody else, he was aware of Tamayo and her efforts. No, I remember, if I remember correctly, he went so far as to tease Tanjiro once. They're saying, say hello to Tamayo for me. And then when we entered in the whole endgame after Nezuko became invulnerable to sunlight, you know, she was called to the corpse to help. The corpse called her in to help them in their efforts to defeat Musan. So I'm wondering, like, if the first master was aware of her, if like Yoriichi told him, and then that knowledge was passed down, or if they actually made some kind of agreement that they were gonna let her be so she could continue her research, and they just weren't gonna pay attention to her. Because it could work either way, or maybe they just didn't know, and it was just Master was more insightful than the past ones. That's a little bit of information that I might want to know, and it could really help flesh out Tamayo and her struggle throughout the years. Because she died, and honestly, I really loved her. Like, she was awesome. And one thing that I also noticed when they were showcasing the other Hashiras from the past was that there was one that bore straight resemblance to the Rengoku family. So I'm wondering if that instance, what happened right there, is the reason why they hold the sun breath techniques with such disdain, and why they're so adamant to refer to flame breathing as such and not fire breathing. Like, I feel like, is this what caused that hatred towards sun breathing? Because that hate is real. We see it in Rengoku, the father, towards Tanjiro. So I want to know why. Like, if it's this, it's understandable. But I also kind of wish like there was something else that caused that level of resentment. So after that, we cut back to Yoriichi talking with Sumiyoshi slash Tanjiro, because Tanjiro's actually seeing everything through Sumiyoshi's eyes, and Yoriichi's very regretful about everything that transpired, and how he says how he was born with the strength to defeat Musan, but in the end, it still wasn't enough. And Tanjiro slash Sumiyoshi, like, it looks like they want to comfort him, but they can't. And then little baby Sumire comes and asks for a hug, and Yoriichi raises the baby up, and she just giggles with glee. Like, she just giggles. And that joy that Sumire has just brings so much joy to Yoriichi's eyes that he cries. Tsuyako then comes back from the forest and, comforts him as he's crying. And the chapter ends with Tanjiro, having this wish that even though it's been that hundreds of years, he really does hope that Yoriichi found peace. And this to me is a very, very beautiful moment because in the previous chapter we get a panel when Yoriichi barely gets there and he's talking to Sumiyoshi. He's saying how he sees his family and how happy they look, and how seeing others happy makes him happy. And after telling the story to Sumiyoshi about what happened with Musan, like he is just filled with so much sadness, regret, and guilt. But yet, just the fact that he sees the pure, innocent laugh of Sumire, and it just brings so much joy to him that it just moves into tears. Like that's just a beautiful moment to me, and that's one thing that I really love about this series. Like it has so many moments like that where it's just filled with so much emotional weight, and I really like it. Kudos to the writer of this series. So yeah, like anyways, that's all I really had to say today about this chapter. What do you guys think about this chapter? Did you like it or not? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Once again, I'm sorry about the late post. I promise I'll get better at this. But once again, if you like this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the subscribe and notification button so you don't miss any of them. Once again, thanks again for watching, and I will see you all next time. Thank you.